Good morning, everyone. This is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou. Where to begin? Most of you, or my followers at least, will know that I've been dealing with thrips for quite some time, and it's overwhelming to say the least. I've got right around 300 plants, give or take a few. I haven't recounted lately, but I've lost a few, and I don't even really know where to begin here, except to say that I am going to go back to my original way of doing things that I've done most of my life, and that is when I get a new plant, it's going in a plastic bag and it's staying in there for at least a week or two away from my other plants. And that is a good habit to get into, because if you do have something that's going to hatch in your soil, it's usually going to happen within 10 to 14 days. Now, I've heard that thrips can take up to 20 days. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can tell you this. I am totally worn out from it. I'm on my third round, at least my third round of treatment, and I have a lot of plants, and I have some health issues that are, they prevent me from getting things done in a shorter time span, so that's not helping matters. But I'm doing the best I can, my friends, and I'm hoping that I can rid my house of these once and for all. And like I said, from now on it's going to be extra caution before I introduce a plant into my home. This, what you're looking at, is my goldfish, and as you can see, we've got new goldfish flowers coming. See that there? So that is a good sign. The leaves on this plant are becoming very dark and lush again, and I'm going to tell you what I've done to most of my plants, what I can remember anyway, what we did to which plant. I believe that this problem started with, I do not remember the name of it. It was an anthurium that I got from a place in Florida that got it from Ecuador, and over the weekend I tossed it. I believe that's where the problem started, when I really did some research and started to take care of my plants and treat them. That's when I really narrowed it down to it came from that plant. That was a $50 plant, by the way. That's the most I've ever paid for a plant. And so it made me very sad. My husband was a little, dismayed that I was getting rid of it. He kept wanting to treat it. We did everything to that plant, including spraying it with his Raid, and still, I believe it was Friday night or Saturday, I forget now, but we had it here in the laundry area on this table, and we were looking at the soil. He had a magnifying glass, but as bad as my eyesight is, I didn't need one. I saw something moving, I picked it up, and it was a very adult thrip with the hooks, coming out from the head and the whole bit, and it was still moving. And this was after 3 treatments. Well, let me back up. With the plants that I could do this to, like most of my plants, that I could wash every leaf, I did that with soap and water, warm water and dish soap, and a fiber cloth, microfiber cloth. And after that, I sprayed it with Captain Jack's. I soaked it, and I soaked the soil. I sprayed the soil, and I put my bonite systemic granules in the soil. And on that particular plant, we did that 3 times, and I still had a living thrips in there. I cannot tell you how horrifying this has been for me. and just plain wore me out. But anyways, the good news is I think I finally got a handle on it. I think we're getting to the end. I don't believe that I'm completely rid of them yet, but I can't say for sure. I don't know. But that is why I haven't been filming, because I've had to use every bit of energy that I had to tend to my plants. So forgive me for being AWOL for a while here, but I'm sure you understand. All right, moving along here. My beautiful ginseng tree. I think it's done. It's still very hard. It's not rotted. I did take it out and the roots looked okay on it. But it's been about a week, so I want to get to looking at that again and see. And I might just, water it and leave it in there and see what happens. But for now, she's not looking too good. But, like I said, this one is perking up. You can see the top stems are standing up straight again. And there are some flowers throughout this plant, some goldfish. Not a lot, but a few, enough to let me know it's got to be somewhat healthy or they wouldn't be producing. So I'm happy about that. My Maranta. This one's pretty much done. It did not like the spray. Now, as I say that, I see new growth coming up here, so I don't know. I really just don't know is my answer. And I'm not going to pretend to know or be an expert on this, because I just am not. And I've watched every video there is on thrips on YouTube and in other places, and honestly, I don't think anybody has one right answer when it comes to this. This plant is another one that I've been struggling and watching this for the longest time. I believe this is from the Peperomia family. I forget the name of it. It's an odd name, but this too has declined greatly. It used to have beautiful foliage, and yes, it's still losing leaves. So this one I might have to just send off to its resting place as well. Some of them, it's just not worth putting the rest of your collection in danger. And I'm not overly in love with this plant. I mean, it's kind of neat looking. It's different. But if I can't get this under control, it has to go. That's all there is to it. I don't have the physical strength to continue to deal with this, so unfortunately. Now, for my McDowell, I got this plant from my good friend Suzette at Suzette's Gardens. And this was one of the plants that got caught in the mail for, I don't know, I forget what it was, 9 days I think it was, during the hot summer. And when I got it, it was already struggling. So it kind of looked like this then, but they're still, the leaves are still alive. But this too was affected. This is a new leaf that I got since I had it, but you can see the telltale damage from the thrips. And they leave all kinds of different damage. They leave these marks. That's thrip damage. And this can be thrip damage, according to the information that I've received. This is also a sign of fungus, bacterial. I know some people treat it with cinnamon with great success, so that might be something I try. I'm really, really hoping that this plant makes it. I'm going to be very, very sad if it doesn't, but right now it seems to be okay. I did not let my husband spray this one with Raid, however. But I did treat it very heavily with Captain Jack's dead bug, I think it's called. So hopefully that'll be growing beautifully this spring, I'm hoping. All right. And here's my purple passion. The good news is, if there is any in all this mess, is I finally figured out what's wrong with it, and it was the thrips. I kept cutting it back, and this is all I had left of my big, beautiful purple passion that if you're not aware or not familiar with it, you can see it in my previous videos, several of them. But as you can see in this one, the leaves finally stopped curling under. They're open and they're flat and they're doing good. So I think I finally saved it that little bit. And I do have some new growth coming in from the bottom there, so I'm so grateful for that. Up there, you can see my Tradescanthia Zbrina, and she's a little sad looking, but I sprayed her too. I don't know. She's got one or two stalks or whatever in their vines, and they seem to have a problem, so I might just take those out. I've cut them back a couple times and re-put them back in. They just must be infected, and I can't get that out. So I might just take those out of there. The one I have in my dining room is growing beautifully, however. And that's another thing. I don't believe that this problem got to my dining room. I'm hoping I'm right on that. I haven't seen any signs of it. And that is the one thing about the thrips, is they do fly, but they don't fly well. So they do most of their damage by crawling from table to, across the table and from plant to plant. So I would just, and as I say that, as those words are coming out of my mouth, I did see some thrips damage in my bathroom, which is on the other end of the house. So I'm not sure if that happened when I had them out here for watering and cleaning, or if it's just a coincidence. I don't know. But at least that's what the information that I've learned through research says. So that big anthurium that I told you went to rest in peace used to be in this corner up here. Most of you will remember that. What I'm going to do when I get some help here is move my gorgeous Salome into that corner. I got this from Suzette as well, a cutting from her. Suzette, if you're watching, look at how gorgeous she is. She really took off this year. I was struggling with her last year. I almost lost her, and I put her outside, and it didn't seem to matter. She was just barely hanging on to life, and I put her under this hydrolite once I got it, and she just took off. So I'm going to set her in the corner. She's going to be the main focus of this table eventually. And then, of course, I've got my Prince of Orange. She really took off since I put her under this table. And there's a few other plants on here, but I'm not going to go through all those right now. I really just wanted to give you an update on what is going on and with the thrip situation. Oh, I did want to show you this, though. Hopefully you can... My Scindaptus pictus. She's grown about a foot since you guys saw her last. She's shingling on my wall. And how neat is that? The problem is I've got her hanging up here, and she's not doing well. She doesn't like it up here. The light is too bright. But if I take her down, there's no place to put her where she's not going to be in that light. So I'm trying to come up with a way to kind of tuck her in here, but in order to do that, my husband's going to have to climb up here and get her. She goes all the way across the room on the other side of that beam. So we'll have to take that down so she doesn't break. And then maybe I'll tuck her in on this table under some big leaf plants so she's not getting such a bright light. She doesn't like that real bright light. Okay, and then my bulbs. They're growing like crazy, but I still don't see a flower bud on here, but they're tall. They're gotta be 3 feet tall. Oh yeah, about a yardstick. And falling over on me, but no flower yet, so I don't know if she's gonna get one or not. Alright, and moving over to my window, my philodendron micans or mecans. I apologize for the backlighting here. I'm trying to get this in, but she's got beautiful, beautiful color, but she too has been affected by the thrips. I did not spray her with Raid, however I did use the Captain Jack's and the Bonite on her. So I'm hoping that that did it. And again, I want to repeat my first round of defense was to wash everything really good with warm water and soap, just a little soap. I scoured out my sink with Comet, and then I filled it with warm water, not hot, and a couple drops of dish soap, and I used my microfiber cloth. And yes, I did wash all the leaves on this. It really doesn't take that long. It looks overwhelming. It looks a little daunting, but it's really not. Okay, and then this one here, my orchid cactus, you can see, hopefully you can see, this is how it was ravaged by the thrips. I'm hoping that it's going to come back. This side is fine, but it did do some damage there. And as you can see, we've got lots of snow out there. We had, well, they said on the news this morning we had 13 inches in my municipality, so it was a lot. It seemed like it was snowing for 2 days. I think it was probably just a little over 24 hours, but it seemed like forever. Kind of neat. It quiets things down, and I love that. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can. Way out there, you can see how the branches are. Some of it's gone already, but it was all white. I mean, they were just completely covered. So beautiful. And you can see the little tracks in the snow of the bunny rabbits and the squirrels and the bird feeders. And okay. Okay, yeah, this is the other one I wanted to show you. This is my curly lipstick, and I am getting, have to be careful where I'm walking here. I am getting some new growth in the top of there, but if I show you a close-up here, you can see where there was thrips damage. There is no such thing as thrip, I guess. It's thrips whether it's, you're talking about 1 or 100. At least that's what they're saying. Now, I did not spray this. I take that back. I did not wash this because there was no way to do so. But I did spray it twice. I soaked it down with Captain Jack's. And if you don't have Captain Jack's, you can also use alcohol and water. Just for those of you that may not have access to that right now, that will help. It actually helps with a lot of different types of pests. So try that. Okay. And you guys will remember, hopefully, that my Marantas were struggling here, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, now we know it was the thrips. I will say, though, if you guys remember when I put the coffee in the soil, the coffee grounds unused, it did help. It perked up the color in the leaves. It brought back the beautiful red. The sun is shining on that, so you can't see. But it did bring back the color in the leaves that I was missing. So that was a good idea. And that, for those of you that didn't see that video, it's just sprinkling over unused coffee grounds on the top of the soil. All right. And my Marantas, this plant, it was looking dull. It's still looking dull to me. It lost its shine. And when I looked closer, I saw some thrips damage. I didn't know it was thrips at the time, but you can see it. So that's what some of it looks like. Here's a good example. If you can see the I don't know if you can see it. I'm doing the best I can here, just bear with me. And then my other monstera in the back. Let me go around to the other side and get that for you. Okay. Hopefully you can see how that leaf is deformed up there as it opened. That is also from thrips damage. One thing about thrips that is important to note is they love the moist, tender part of the plant. So they will basically be attracted to the new growth, the leaves that are not opened yet. So that is also a problem, because if your leaf is tight and it's not opened and there's strips in there, you can't get at them unless you physically unroll the leaf, which you can do, but it's probably not going to look very good as an adult leaf. Here's another one, my philodendron Bloody Mary. This was affected as well, but I think she's good now. I think I got him. I mean, pretty much, I don't think there's too many plants that were not touched by this thrips outbreak. Had them down here on my purple waffle. I had them on my golden pothos. My husband sprayed the golden pothos with Raid Ant and Roach Killer. And that was about a week ago. And no, it was better than a week ago, week and a half. And she's doing great. So I want to just put a disclaimer out there. I'm not advocating using Raid Ant and Roach Killer. And I have to say this, I can't say it too many times, because the last thing I want you to do is go out and buy that and spray your plant and have your plant die. But it's been working for us. I would never have allowed it, except that I had a cissus rhombifolia that it was done. It was done for. And after everything I tried, it didn't come back. So my husband said, well, there's still a couple leaves on it. Do you care if I spray it with Raid? I said, no, go ahead, because I'm just going to dump it. And he did, and it came back to life. And I'll show you that in a very near video. I'll be doing an update on those, and you won't believe how beautiful that plant is, the comeback that I had. So, you know, but like I said, he did spray my Maranta, and you saw the results of that back in my laundry room. So there are some plants that just cannot take that And but on the ones that I let them spray, all but that one, it didn't harm them. It brought them back to life. So, you know, when you have nothing else to lose, when it's at a point where you're going to get rid of it anyway, what do you got to lose, right? Okay, a couple more, and then I'll have to be done for the day. But before I show you the rest of these, I just want to take a moment to thank you all so much for your support and for your patience. I know that there's a number of you that have reached out to me and, Linda, when are you going to do another video? We miss you, and I appreciate that so much. And I feel horrible when I can't do videos, but just suffice it to say, if I can, I will. If I could physically do a video every day of the week, I would do it. But I'm just not able to. And with all of this problems with the thrips, I've had to devote what energy I do have to taking care of these plants. So I know that you guys will understand. You're all very kind people. All of my subscribers and commenters have always been so kind to me, and I really appreciate that. All right, so wrapping it up, my Hawaiian wedding wreath. She was affected, and see if you can see the couple leaves that were affected by the thrips. But I sprayed her really good twice with the Captain Jacks, and I washed the leaves as best I could. And I sprayed the soil as well, and I put the bonite crystals in the soil. And she all of a sudden took off. She's growing like crazy. She's going way up around the Maranta. I got to pull her down from there and get her wrapped around her wire here. But that growth has all been in the last week or so. So she's really taking off. And I did spray my baby bunny bellies. I sprayed her 3 times, and I put the bonite in the soil. And she seems to be doing okay. My string of pearls. I have to tell you what happened here. In the last couple days, I was sitting in my chair, and I couldn't get at this, and I kept thinking something is wrong with that plant. She just didn't look well, and I thought, oh no, I hope she doesn't have the thrips. So I watered her, and then I watered her again the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and it's like, okay, I don't ever water this plant this much, ever. So now when I water her, I have to use a watering can with a long spout on it because there's stuff in front of it, and I can't get close enough to it. Well, my husband can, so he went and he pulled it out, and he stuck his finger in the soil, and he said, honey, that soil is hard as a rock. It feels like cement. I said, oh my gosh, that's the problem. So I took my wooden skewer, and I dug around in there, and yes, I could hear roots breaking, but you know what? It was that or lose the whole plant. So I poked up and down and up and down and up and down as much as I could to loosen up that soil, wiggled it around a little bit, and I watered it, and look at her. Look at how plump her pearls are. So, thank goodness we got that solved. This is another plant that was greatly affected by the thrips. The thrips love this one. This is my wax ivy. And the leaves on it were stunted. It's bad. But that one's coming back too. And then I sprayed my rattlesnake calathea. But as you can see, she's got a little bit of yellowing on one of the leaves and some edging problems on another. So I think I'm going to have to do her again. This one doesn't seem to be affected by it. I didn't have any problems, although I did treat her. And then last but not least, my zambifolia, my ZZ plant. She does have them. There are signs of thrips on her, but I'm pretty sure they're in this leaf, and that's what I was talking about before. Getting the spray down in there isn't an easy task, and probably not something we should even do, because if that is wet and it sits in there, it could rot it. So I'm anxiously waiting for that to open so that I can retreat this again. I am so hoping that this is the end of it. I don't even know what to say about it at this point. Besides being overwhelmed, I'm worn out, and I just hope that I got rid of the problem, and I hope it doesn't return. And I can't urge you guys enough. Make sure, now I know Suzette has a schedule typed, or a method that she uses whenever she gets a new plant. I believe she washes it. I know she repots it. She takes all the old soil off and repots it right away. And then I believe she sprays it with a mixture of neem oil and something else. You'll have to watch her video to find out. But that seems to be working for her. I know she gets pests occasionally, but she hasn't had any, enormous, crazy outbreaks of anything. And she's got a lot of plants, and a lot of big plants. So I guess that works too, at least for Suzette. So that's another thing to do when you buy new plants. And I know we've always said in the past it's not good to repot a plant when you first bring it home, and I get that, because it's acclimating to a new environment, and especially if you're buying that plant in the winter. So now you took it out of a warm store, you walked from the store to the car, which is cold. Now you're in the car, now you're doing it again when you get home, and now you're putting it in a whole new atmosphere. That is a shock to the plant. And then to repot it is a further shock. But I think the worst that can happen, at least that I've witnessed, is it may slow the growth for a while. So, I've never heard of repotting a plant killing the plant. So you guys can do with that information what you want, and if you think I'm wrong on that and you want to challenge me on that, feel free to put that in the comment section. But I've not experienced it. I don't know anyone that has experienced death of a plant by repotting when you first get it home. So that's, I guess, the information that I have to share with you today. I'm hoping to be back tomorrow with an update on my a more cheerful update on my plants that are growing very well and are actually doing phenomenally well. And I look forward to bringing that with you. But I just wanted to update you on this issue. So I hope you all have a great day. If you live in the states where you got a lot of snow dumped on you like I did, I hope you can get out and enjoy it. I really miss playing in the snow. I used to love to play in the snow with my kids and build snowmen and go sledding and go ice skating, and this is the time of year to do it, folks. Get out of the house. Okay. We will be back. Bye now.